Thanks for tuning in to another video, another lesson with Hot Tech Tips. You can find us online at www.hottechtips.com or hottechtips.com. Today we're going to talk about the fill handle and custom lists. So when you click on a cell, here's A1, here's D5, you can see it highlights the column and it highlights the row so you can tell what cell you're in. Now if I wanted to, for instance, type a number here, and let's say I wanted to move this to another column, I'll move my mouse until it changes from the white plus sign to a thin plus sign with arrows, and then I can click and move, and it will move those contents to that new location. Now if I don't put on the line, the outline of the cell, but leave it here in the middle, I'm going to highlight multiple cells for things I can do. For instance, let's move this back up, and let's say I want to copy this cell, and I want to copy that down I highlighted where I want to copy it, then I hit enter, and that copies that cell all the way down. Now another way to do that's even easier, let me clear these out of the way. I'm going to highlight this and hit the delete key. Another way to do really quick copying is what they call the fill handle. Now you can see that I have the white cross here, the skinny black here, but if I put it on this little square that's in the bottom right hand corner, it turns into a thin black cross with no arrows on it. That little square is called the fill handle. And the fill handle lets you quickly copy cells. So I'm going to click on the fill handle and drag it down, and that's a quick way to copy. With all of this highlighted, if I go to the right, I'm going to copy everything to the right. Very, very quick way. Now some of the great things you can do with the fill handle is, say for instance, if I put in Monday and I grab the fill handle, you would think, like with the 500, it would just copy it. But look what it does. It advances by a day. So I can quickly fill this in without having to type Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday. And if I continue on, it goes on and just repeats that pattern. That's the power of the fill handle. Now let's say, for instance, I have a date up here. 1/1/2015. If I have just one date and I copy that date, it's going to increment by 1 day. These hash marks are because my column is too narrow to hold the value. So I'm going to expand that out a little bit. But now what if I put two dates here? And then the next date, let's say I get paid every 2 weeks. 1/1/15 and 1/15/15. And then I highlight both of these cells and use the fill handle. It's going to increment by 14 days every new cell. So that's a really quick way also to get some data into some cells. Okay, some of the other things you can do is you can type in like Q1 and then copy that down. You can just use Q2R and you can say test number 1 It does this for you. So that's a way. Now, what if you, though, wanted to have your own lists? Let's say, for instance, you were going to go to start a cross-country trip, and you were going to go to Los Angeles. Let's say you did this often, a business, and you always had to make this trip, and you always had to put these on a spreadsheet. All right, so I'm going to type in, I'm starting in Los Angeles, I'm going to Phoenix, and I'm going to El Paso, and then San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans, and then we'll say Tampa. All right, now if I had to do this, say it was a longer list, and I wanted to just enter Los Angeles and then have the rest of these filled in, I have to create a custom list. So you do that by clicking on File, Options, on the General area, on the Advanced area, scroll down close to the bottom, and there will be Edit Custom Lists. Now you see that there is Sunday, Monday, February, and then there are those built-in ones also that we showed on the spreadsheet. So for this one, I'm going to highlight. I think I may have to cancel this. I'll highlight these and copy, and then go File, Options, Advanced, Edit Custom List, and then paste. I thought it would do that. All right, so we're just going to type them in again. Actually, I am wrong about that. Let's go back here. We can see that our range is from K3 to K9, and that's what this is here. So instead of pasting, we just say import, because we highlighted that range before we went into the custom lists. And then we click OK. And then OK again. So now if I type Los Angeles, hit enter, and use my fill handle on it, it's going to update those. So that's the custom list. That's where that comes from. And you can start anywhere. If you wanted to start on a, say you started in El Paso, it's going to start at that point, go to the end of the list, and then rotate back around the list. So that's custom lists and the fill handle, which is very important. One of the things you have to know on the fill handle is that when the default for the fill handle is to use relative addressing. So let me clear all this out of the way, and then I'll show you this last part. Let's say I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'm going to make a formula here that multiplies these two numbers together. So I'm going to type equal to go into the formula settings, this cell, and I'll hit the star on the keypad, this cell, enter. So 1 times 1 is 1. If I use the fill handle to drag this formula down, it will change the cells relative to where the fill handle is. That's why they call it relative addressing. So if I continue this down, you can see I've created these formulas and I get the right response. Now, to use what they call absolute addressing, you go back to your formula and you put the cursor up on the formula bar, click into the formula and hit F4. F4 will cycle through the various different settings. So here the column and the row are relative. F4 puts the column and the row absolute. This puts the column relative and the row absolute. And F4 again is the column absolute and the row relative. So that's useful. For instance, let's go here and say I have a 5. Oh, that stayed with my date setting from before. I didn't clear the formatting. 5. And then over here I had numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I want to do is multiply each number by 5. So I will make a formula here. I3 times J3, that equals 5. Now if I used my fill handle, you're going to see it's not going to give me the right results because it's going to use these I cells relatively. So what we want to do is say, let's keep this absolute as we copy it down. We want to keep the I3 absolute. So I'm going to go over here to I3, click into the formula bar, and then hit F4. And now I'm saying I3 will be absolute. Do not change I3 when I use the fill handle or copy. So I hit enter. Now, when I drag down, I get the right results because each of these formulas updates the relative cell position, but leaves the first I3 in place. So that's a little introduction to relative addressing, absolute addressing, creating custom lists, and using the fill handle to your advantage. These are really quick time savers. So thanks for watching, listening in, and don't forget to check out hottechtips.com. See you next time.